I am now joined by Tough Smashes contestant and runner-up Brad Scott. How's things with you, Brad?
Oh, great, mate, great. Back training at last. Weights coming down, strength coming back. Nothing can be better.
How do you feel after obviously you're in the house a while ago now, but how do you feel now it's been aired and that you're supposed to be allowed to talk about it, and how do you feel for the whole experience?
It's more of a relief than anything now. It's all done, it's all in the past. I've done the best I could do at the time. Now I've just basically got to look forward, look to the future, improve my skill set, get leaner, meaner, basically just sort myself out and get back on track. Try and do the best I can. No more secrets, no more having to go careful what I say. I can just get on with it, train as normal, like in the old days.
Did you enjoy the experience? I mean, you had a really, really good showing on The Ultimate Fighter, and obviously was easily the standout welterweight for the UK, and obviously made it all the way to the final, beating two Australians. Was it a good experience?
I mean, obviously, for the outcome, it was fantastic. I mean, I got to win 2 fights, get to the get to the final, and then had a half-decent fight there. I wasn't unlucky. I lost, but it was a close fight. But as an experience itself, you've got to remember, you're surrounded by blokes all the time. I didn't know any of them until I went into the house, so they're all brand new people to me. No family, couldn't speak to anyone. It's quite mentally tough, mate. It's deceivingly difficult. And when I used to watch it on my mate Andy's house, I used to watch all the other fights, think, oh God, why are they being such whiny bitches? They should be enjoying themselves. They've got the best feed, best training. But in reality, when you can't come home after it and separate yourself from it, it's quite difficult.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we've been lucky enough to speak to a few of the guys that were on the show, and one of the things I was asked, did you know anyone going in? And so you didn't know any of the other guys going in at all?
No, I didn't know any of them. I'd heard of their names or seen them fight, but I didn't know any of them, no. None of them.
And how did you, I mean, it seemed like there was quite for the most part, there was quite a strong bond between Team UK. How did you find the other guys overall?
Oh, wicked, all of them, fantastic. I got along with everyone. They're all alright. We had like our little bits of tips and tackles and all that about the diary and stuff, but within 30 minutes we were all fine again. Yeah,
I was going to bring up the diary. I'll bring that up in a little bit because it would be interesting to get your take on it. Because I watched that, obviously not, this is before I spoke to you obviously, so I watched that not knowing anybody, and I just thought that it was a little bit of an overreaction on their part, but we'll talk about it in a little bit. How did you find the training, and what was it like being with Ross and Dean and the team that he put together?
Oh, fantastic. It was the level. It was the level difference is what I'm not used to. I'm used to being like one of the better ones at almost all the clubs I go to, where there's only a couple of people as good. Over there, everyone was as good as me, if not better. The coaching was on a much higher level than what I was used to. Our jiu-jitsu coach was on a level that I'd never, ever experienced before. Absolutely smashed in BJJ by that James Harbison, or Jimmy Jar as we called him. That was like the best thing about training. Every training session was a constant test. It was always a battle and test. It was brilliant.
And has training with those guys, has it opened up more doors for you, and obviously being on that show to get into some of the stronger, because there is obviously some really strong camps in the UK, has that opened up some more doors for you to get into some better camps?
Yeah, I mean, Bowler and Luke was a fantastic, to meet them was brilliant, because they train at Team Titan in London, with Brad Pickett, and a few of the other guys, so it was fantastic for me to go down there. I've trained from down there now, and it's so much better to train with guys who are better than you, or just as good as you, or slightly worse than you. It's good to get that balance and train at different places. It's like, you're not used to those guys. You get a little bit of butterflies before you start sparring, and that's when you know if the stuff you've been learning and drilling legitimately will work in the cage.
Also, as well, before you go on to this, obviously, again, I haven't spoken to you guys, I know it's quite a long, drawn-out process of going through the different application stages, and you're kind of left waiting a lot, not knowing if you're in or not knowing if you're out. What was that whole process like? That must have been mentally draining as well.
It wasn't too bad, because I didn't think I had any chance of getting in, so I completely rid it off. I thought I had no chance, so I didn't really care. So I was quite lucky, but I mean, the waiting around doing the forms and that was horrible. Oh, it was so mind-numbing. I woke up at 4 in the morning to drive to London, got to London, and then I was there until about 12 at night. So obviously, it's horrible. And then the next day you had all your medicals and that, then they just let you be on your way. But I honestly didn't think I had a chance of getting in, so I was so relaxed, so chilled out anyway. I didn't really back an eyelid to it, mate, to be honest with you.
What made you think that you didn't have a chance of getting in?
I don't know, I expect the worst, so once something good happened, it was like, oh, wow, that's alright. I did alright. I expected nothing, and then ended up getting to the final. I was just a bit.
And not only did you get to the final, but I think as well it's fair to say going into the final, because of the way the show had played out, that Robert Whittaker was quite a big favourite going into the final, and obviously he'd won both his fights very, very quickly, again against tough guys, and I think people thought he might do that again, and obviously you took him all the way, and we go into that third round, it was a round apiece. You must be pleased that you had I know you didn't win the final, but you had such a good showing on the show, and then have kind of backed that up by having such a good showing in the final as well. So you must be pleased overall with the whole experience and of what it's led to for you.
I mean, what it's led to is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I'm a full-time fighter now. That was the dream in the first place. I mean, I always really, really struggled against Luke. Really struggled. So when he got knocked out by Rob, I was like, oh, this might not be so good. It took me 2 rounds to beat X-Man. I mean, given it, I think I could have beaten far quicker and far easier if I fought him again. But he finished X-Man in a minute, so I was like, oh, I better keep my chin down for this fight. And then when it was a round apiece in the final, I thought to myself, I've got it. He's not even that good. I've got him 100%. And then it was, then I ran out of there with lungs, and that was it. Then I completely gassed. I knew what I had to do to beat him, but I gassed. Fair play to him. He didn't gas. He kept it coming. He started hitting me a bit more, and he won the fight. Yeah,
but it was a good fight, and you'd obviously won the second round as well. So that it did look like the momentum was kind of switching, but it was a brilliant fight. What was it like as well? Because I know that they did the bonuses at the end of the season, and your fight with Benny Alloway, that won fight of the season as well. What was that like?
I watched that fight back, and you can tell I had to cut twice in 10 days. I think that was another one. I really could have finished Ben Alloway, but I didn't. I mean, I didn't think X-Man or Ben Alloway were as good as any of the UK welterweights, like from training and that. I was really disappointed in myself. I think I let the weight cuts get to me in the house and start to affect me and slow me down. But luckily, I had Dean Amundsen there and his knowledge of weight cuts to bail me out twice, pretty much, because I didn't think I was going to get in the house. When I got selected, I was about 90 kilos. And they're like, oh yeah, you're leaving Wednesday. It's like, oh shit me. I better get on some spinach and fish.
So just so we know, if you're 90 kilos, what's the welterweight kilo, and how much kilo did you need to lose to be at welterweight?
12 and a half.
And what after your first fight, how much did you have to lose for your second fight? What did your weight kind of level out, or did you still have to lose weight again to get back down there?
I had to cut. First one was 16 or 17 pounds in 24 hours, and the second one was 17. That's it, 17 pounds in 24 hours for the first one, and like 15 or 16 for the second one.
That's a hell of a cut. I think as well, looking on the season, looking at how the finale played out with the other guys that were on the show that fought, and obviously Benny Alloway had a really, really big win on the finale, and not just not necessarily just who he beat, but how he won with his finish. Again, that kind of held you in good stead as well, because you beat the guy who landed that kick.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant knowing that I beat him and he won. I never wanted to lose again knowing I beat him. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. Hell of a finish, wasn't it?
Oh, it was unbelievable, yeah.
Hell of a finish. And Manny shouldn't have shot from such a distance.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was a knee, that could have been horrific.
Oof. Yeah, it was unbelievable. And Manny was controlling the fight up to that stage, well, it looked like he was in control anyway. Have you had any contact from the UFC about what happens next?
Yeah, I'm just waiting to hear back from Joe Silver. He said he'll come back to me when he's got a fight for me. The only problem was I had an infection in my ear. In the fight, I got caught in the ear. Well, in wrestling, I started doing a lot of wrestling. I developed the cauliflower ear, and then in training during the week, it got slapped with a pad and it started swelling up. Yeah. And then in the fight, I got kicked or elbowed or hit in some way, and it was swelled up like an apple. And then they cut it open with a scalpel because it didn't have a needle head big enough. A lot of the blood kept blocking the needles.
Yeah.
So, and then it got infected, so it didn't go too well. I've only just started training again, really, the last week.
Oh, is it nice to be back training again?
God, 95 kilos at the moment. Won't be long. When I get under 90, I'll be alright.
Will you be staying at 170? Is that your weight class?
Do want to go up, but it's just laziness is the reason I want to go up. It's nothing to do with me putting on some secret muscle mass or some secret protein shake. It's just as I like cake and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, because I know, like, a lot of guys, they'll go on the show and then they'll end up dropping weight. And I know Mike Wilkinson, we spoke to him. He's going to be dropping to featherweight. So you will obviously. I don't imagine you're going to go up. I assume you are going to stay at 170. You think?
Yeah, I mean, like, Mike and that were walking around about 3 pounds over the weight, so they were fine. I was walking over 20 pounds over the weight, so
Yeah.
I mean, it was to their advantage at the end of the day for a show like that. I wish I was lighter. If I had more confidence in my ability to get in, I mean, my fitness was fantastic. I was still training hard. I was just eating, like, to make up for it.
Right, let's talk a little bit about this diary, because obviously that was one of the things that, well, it seemed like it was kind of blown out of proportion. You're obviously very isolated from a lot of people, from your family, friends, and things like that. So you kept a note of what you were doing during the day, your thoughts, your feelings. Like a lot of people do that. How did you feel when people took that and read that?
Honestly, man, I was a little bit disappointed to start off with, but very quickly didn't care. Like, do you know what I mean? Very quickly didn't care. I mean, I understand I apparently upset a few people. I mean, the people who were kicking off were the ones I didn't think should have been upset. It was a bit weird. It's like, well, why are you getting shitty? I wrote nothing about you in the diary, etc. And I was like, And then I said, look, if you've read it and you've only read the bad bits, why don't you read the whole thing? They went and read the whole thing. They realised that they made a mountain out of a molehill, and most of them said sorry the next day. Yeah,
that was good, because it was good that it all got sorted, but it did definitely seem that one, they shouldn't have read it anyway, but the fact they did, guys will be guys if you like, so the fact they read it's one thing, but then to only read part of it, it's always going to look bad if they've only read part of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, if you read only half of a joke, you wouldn't find it funny, would you?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, what's this prick on about? That wasn't funny. I mean, you need to read the whole thing, so there you are. Have a go.
What were Team Australia like? How did you get on with the Australian guys?
To start off with, they were really they were pricks to start off with. They were really kept away from us. You know what I mean? Really secretive, not much fun, boring. But towards the end, I mean, the last couple of weeks, like Patrick, they all come out of the show. They were fantastic. Even Rob. Ben was a bit of a miserable fucker still, but everyone else was fantastic. Rob, Pat, Ben Wall, all of them, wicked.
Yeah. So was Ben obviously being Benny Alloway? He just didn't get into it at all.
I think he was still savage that I beat him. I didn't rub it in or anything. I'm not that sort of person. I wish I did. But no, I didn't rub it in at all. I think he was just really upset. In all fairness, I think he genuinely believed that he was going to win. I just wanted to do my best. I didn't put any pressure on myself, but he thought he was the best fighter in the house. That's strange, because obviously, again, because we spoke to a few people, I've obviously done a little bit of research, and going into the house, he actually had a loss to Robert Whittaker. So to think you're the best in the house when you've lost to somebody already in the house, that's a bit of a strange one, isn't it? Yeah, he lost by rear naked choke in the second round, didn't he? I can't remember. I just remember looking that, because obviously the names both stood out. I just remember looking that he'd had a loss. One of the other people that stood out on the show for good reasons was Colin the Freak Show Fletcher. Obviously, some of his antics were absolutely hilarious to watch. How did you find him as a person, and what was his antics like actually being there and seeing it all as he was doing what he was doing? Unbearable. Nah, man. Nah, he's wicked. I'm from a quieter. My friends don't do the sort of shit he does. My friends don't dress as clowns, or you know what I mean. For instance, one of the worst ones is we had to stay in a hotel before we had to go into the house. Yeah. And you should have seen the shit he packed with him in that suitcase. He wouldn't let him have it in the house. It was so bad. He had some scary ass mask, and he used to bloody sleep in his mask. Jeez, I had to share a room. You've never seen anything like it. Wake up and you lose a pound in shit. It's horrible.
Oh God, he did come across as being just always on the ball, and he did that the Australian character as well, didn't he? Was it Ross or Russ?
Russell Bandingo. Yeah, true. Flaming Galah. Yeah, he done him.
Oh.
But I mean, all of that put aside, he's a really nice person. He genuinely cares about how you're feeling. I mean, genuinely a nice guy. He's not spiteful. He doesn't do it. I mean, he does it obviously to make people happy, but he's a genuine nice guy. He's not actually a nasty person.
No, he definitely come across as being a nice guy. And again, we spoke to Colin last week, and he is very, very genuine. The other thing that like I said, I've spoken to a few people, and I always ask the same question. One of the things that stood out to me on the season in a strange way was the fact that the UK lightweights were so dominant, and apart from yourself, obviously, the Australian welterweights were so dominant. Was that surprising at all?
Yeah, we whitewashed them. I made it to the final. England wins that little debate there. But I can see where you're coming from. I thought, Jesus Christ, don't put me under pressure or anything. I remember big little Mike, lightweight, before he left.
Yeah. Michael Pastel.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Him, I always forget his name. I remember him really well. Lovely bloke, fantastic character. I wish he'd stayed in the house. He said to me at the beginning, he said, that Xavier, X-Man, he's legit. He's been in this, he's been in that, he's legit. I thought, yeah, if I don't get him to the final, my bloody first fight, wasn't it? And not only that, I had the pressure of every other bugger had lost. I thought, oh, Jesus Christ, my asshole was twitching before that fight. But once I was in there, I didn't feel threatened at all.
I think that was pretty much a one-sided fight as well, and I think if you probably would have upped the pressure a little bit, you could have got the finish. I think it was strange with him because he was such he was such a nice guy, and I know everyone seemed to love him. He had some brilliant stories, but he just didn't seem to be able to put it together in the cage. Even when he fought Whittaker, the punch that caught him, it looked like a glancing blow almost.
I'm pretty sure he bottled it, mate.
Yeah.
I'm sure he bottled it. Yeah.
It's a shame because he was a nice guy, wasn't he?
Oh, he was one of the nicest guys on the team. He had such a character. Such a character he was. He was shot the fuck. He was brilliant.
What did you think to the opposing coaches? Because there seemed to be quite a bit of bad blood between Ross and George. There's obviously been stories come out after the show was finished. How did you find George and his coaches?
I never had a problem with any of the coaches, really. I thought George was a bit of a shit sense of humour, and Nick Atira, just whatever his name is, he started throwing down a lot for no reason. But otherwise, they weren't that bad. They just a bit testosterone-y, trembolone-y, a bit weird. But otherwise, George is quiet, really. He's not one for the banter, and that's why he got destroyed by Ross non-stop. Ross is pretty switched on. He's one of the boys. George is a bit of a caveman when it comes to that sort of stuff.
He couldn't get the humour at all. I mean, a lot of the Aussie guys could get it, but he couldn't get it at all, could he? And even when he tried to give it out, it just didn't sound right, did it?
No, it was just like, shut up, George, you're a bell end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was what it sounded like every time.
It didn't come across well at all.
Yeah, sit down, George, sit down. Yeah.
So obviously, I know you don't know yet who you're going to be fighting, and obviously you're going to be coming in and looking to work your way up through the welterweight ranks. Is there anyone you'd like to fight, or has anyone got your eye on?
Everyone asks me this, but the only people I really want to fight are not in the UFC yet, so that isn't going to work. No, I don't really want to fight a Division 1 wrestler. Really, to be honest with you, I don't want to get a rash on my ass. I wouldn't mind. I like to fight. I still want to test, but I want someone that will show off my skills, not so much theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want someone that I'm going to make look amazing at going under a jab, catching my single leg, and putting on my ass every 5 seconds.
Yeah. I
want someone, I want to fight. Really, I want to fight.
And ideally, when would you like to be back in the octagon?
June time, I hope.
So that's in your head. That's what you think. You'd like to try and get yourself ready and get yourself in there for June.
Yeah, that'd be fine for me.
Cool. Well, we really appreciate you coming on today. Before we let you go, as always, I'd like to give our guests a chance to shout out. So, do you want to shout out any friends, family, sponsors, and also let people know about your Facebook and your Twitter as well?
You put me on the spot. I've got so many coaches, sponsors and stuff. That's what I do. My sponsors: JY Nutrition, my management company, G4 MMA, Dragon Slayer Gym, and Trojan Free Fighters. Tom Cudgington for my strength and conditioning, and Saeed Ismaili for my wrestling.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
I
don't know my Twitter, I'm afraid.
Okay. Let me. And you've obviously. Well, if they just search Bradley Scott, they'll find your Twitter, and you've got obviously the same for your Facebook as well. So thank you very much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. I know we spoke to you a few weeks ago about over Tyson Fury, and I was looking forward to getting you on the show properly. So thank you for joining us.
That's fine, mate. That's absolutely fantastic.